Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Sanctum, where we analyze a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff going on with Blizzard and their cinematics and World of Warcraft and all that stuff. Today we're going to do one of our reaction and cinematic videos. I say we, it's just me. Jeff's in my ear right now. We're doing some behind-the-scenes recording, but it's just going to be me watching the cinematic. You're actually going to see Jeff's reaction as well, but I'll be doing the analysis after. I haven't seen any of them. I've only seen thumbnails and stuff like that, so I'm going in totally unspoiled, at least in regards to what happens directly in the cinematic. We're going to start with the Jaina Alliance one. I know that's a thing. I know she's in there. And then we're going to go to the Rastakhan. So we're going to start with Jaina here. And again, I haven't seen any of it until now. So starting in 3, 2, 1.
Commander, look!
Fish jumping right into our net. Go! Go!
Oh boy.
Those ballista will be firing any second.
Continue our approach, Captain.
Aye, Lord Admiral.
There's our boy
Lady
Tandred.
Proudmoore, the mission was a success. Our stealth agents are clear of the area.
Thank you, Spy Master. Hi, Tinker. Are you ready?
I'll activate our surprise just as soon as we're in range.
Now.
Ooh.
Steady.
Incoming!
Hi, Tinker. Calvin. No.
Look out!
Don't tell me. Oh.
Come on, buddy. Pop your cooldowns. Oh! Decimated!
Full speed ahead.
Nice.
Alliance. Forward.
Alright guys, I'm back, and I've rewatched this Alliance intro, honestly, a dozen times. Going frame by frame, listening to everything. There is so much going on right here. A lot of this cinematic is music driven, and every cinematic's music driven. You know, in the Battle for Darkshore, the Terror of Darkshore, that night song at the very end when Tyrande comes into view, a lot of these moments are very music driven. Ysera, all this stuff, and this was no exception. There's so many moments that are crucial to breaking this down scene by scene. And I'll say right off the bat, I don't have a background in film. I didn't study this professionally, so this is all just from years of being in the machinima community and doing Lost Codex. And I entered the machinima community back in 2009. So do I have a lot of expert opinions? No, but this is just stuff that I notice, stuff that I see. And it's mostly lore driven. So we'll dive right in to the introduction shot showcasing the Zandalari fleet. Now, on my second or third watch through, it kind of didn't hit me, but I kind of realized, all right, this is the main story point for the Horde. This is the reason the Horde is here on Zandalar. They rescued Talanji not because they wanted to, but for their fleet. Vol'jin slighted the Zandalari years ago. There's never been this friendliness between the Zandalari and the Horde. Sure, they've recruited help from both sides off and on, but for the most part, Zandalar has proudly stood alone. So the reason the Horde is here, and for those of you who didn't read the short stories for the Burning of Teldrassil, there's a clear indication that the fleets of both the Alliance and the Horde have been decimated from Legion, which is why the Horde need the Zandalari, right? They are. I have in my notes here that they're here to seize the fleet, and seize sounds like a hostile takeover, but in a way, very mildly, it is. You know, when you talk to Nathanos, he snarls at you through bare teeth. We need the Zandalari fleet. We need these ships. So it's less of a seize and more of a desperate recruit. Talanji says, if you're going to win over my father's fleet, like, we're here to prove ourselves. And this defining moment in the story is when the Horde truly prove themselves. The Horde was there for the Battle of Zuldazar, but this is defending against the Alliance. This is where the faction war comes into play. And something to keep in mind is this fleet is one of the largest fleets in the world, the Golden Fleet of Zandalar. Zul took half of it to Missa Pandaria to resurrect Lei Shen. Like, this is not just a Battle for Azeroth plot point. This has been mentioned often. There was that point in the Cataclysm where Zul told Rastakhan, we need to build ships, we need to build a lot of ships. And, part of that was retcon. Not so much retcon, but just change that Zul's predictions were way off and the Zandalari just stayed and rebuilt instead of fleeing the sinking island. At one point, everyone thought Zandalar was cracked in half and sinking. But either way, this fleet is important, and we see that in the Zul Talanji escape. We see Talanji pray to Razan for the escape, and then the blockade, and the firing of the ranged weapons, and the Alliance fleet the small Alliance chase fleet gets decimated, and from there, it's absolute chaos for the Alliance. They're like, oh my god, we need the Kultiris fleet, which is why the Alliance goes there. So before this cutscene happens, people are wondering, well, where is this all the fleet? And a small portion of the Zandalari fleet has been taken by Talanji. She goes into Nazmir with a sizable ground force, air force, and I believe the captain who chills with the Horde in island expeditions, he takes a small mini fleet to Nazmir to cut off the Alliance, because Nazmir is where the Alliance is attacking, or so the Zandalari think. And so, for the most part, this is the Grand Golden Fleet. And you might say, well, there's only like 13 ships here. The Zandalari fleet is huge, and this is the representation of it. And while there might be other fleets elsewhere, this is the pride and joy of Zandalar, and that's key when we see that here. And the first character we meet is a character who's likely nameless. It's very possible that he's not actually any major lore character, but I have a feeling that the commander we meet could be a Zandalari by the name of Taranko. And now Taranko is the dockmaster at the end of the docks in Zandalar. He's the guy you talk to find out where the Darkspear ship is. I compared the model. Aside from the shoulders, he is identical in skin color, hairstyle, hair color, tusk style, and his outfit. The only difference is he's got shoulders in the cinematic and no shoulders in game. But everything else, down to the hairstyle and color, is identical. Now, is this guy super important? No, but he is. When you see the other Zandalari, they're just wearing regular harnesses. This guy is important. He's got the shoulders. He's got the walk going on. He's looking around. This guy, right away, doesn't matter who he is, we know, all right, this guy's kind of important. He's not Rastakhan. He's not Zul. Obviously not Zul. He's not Talanji, but he's someone, right? And we hear in the background, Commander. Now, that could mean that this isn't Taranko, because Taranko in game on the docks doesn't have the title Commander. He's got the title Dockmaster. Not super important, but I remember thinking right away when I saw this guy, oh, this guy's important because of his shoulders. And when I compared in game, there was no one really, around to fit that description. Or look aside from him. So it could just be shoulders mean, look at me, I'm big and macho. Now, right away, we see the Alliance fleet on the shore. And it's interesting that there's not a lot of Kultiris ships there. And that could have been intentional. That could have been the Zandalari know, the Horde know the Alliance has very little fleet. So by showing Alliance ships, it could be, okay, this isn't a very big attack. It could be a little bit of a distraction. But aside from, and yes, that's Jaina's dad's boat there, it's all Alliance boats. That could have just been a choice. I don't really know why, if there's a story reason behind that. We know the Kultiris fleet is a massive fleet. We know, with the Siege of Borealis cinematic, or Siege of Borealis and the reveal of the Kultiris fleet, it was a big question in the Living Zone. Where's the fleet? Where's the fleet? I don't think this is the fleet, because they're all Alliance ships. So, Alliance ship models anyway, not the Kultiris ships. But Taranko, our commander, says, fish jumping right into our nets. It's a trap. The Zandalor have this blockade, and the Alliance tried to get through once. We saw in a cinematic, didn't really work out. Something of note here that I'm going to point out is the siege weapons, the ballista here, the ballistas we have here. Sorry, I always say that word wrong. Look at the payload they have on them. Now this could mean nothing. Maybe this is me just overanalyzing, but that looks a little bit like blue crystal. No, is that not blue? And it's definitely not wood. It doesn't look like metal. Now there's clearly some sort of wrapping around it with some rope, flammable cloth. But I wonder, is that azurite? Are the spearheads made of azurite? I'll come to that later. I'm on the fence about that, but it's interesting because everyone's using azurite for everything. So could this be the Zandalari using azurite? I looked in game. You don't really see those particular missile models anywhere. So I'm wondering, just a design choice. Who knows? Load up the weapons, and then we cut to the Alliance fleet. And we have here Tandred talking to Jaina, and I found it a little bit of a throwback. To those of you who haven't done the Alliance War Campaign, the new part, there's this sort of back and forth between Jaina and Tandred, and he says, she says, "Continue our approach, Captain." "Aye, Lord Admiral." And in that prelude quest, Jaina kind of gives him a little bit of sass, saying, "Oh, don't start, Tandred. You can call me Jaina." And so there's a little bit of a funny throwback there, without it blatantly being inappropriate as a joke, that here she still refers to him as Captain. He still calls her Lord Admiral, even if they've had an exchange before, like, "Hey, just call me Jaina, just call me Tandred," kind of thing. On screen walks Matthias Shaw, and I thought right away, like, this man's seen some shit. Look at those eyes. Look at the wrinkles on that face. This guy has been around a while. Aside from like that super stash. Look at that. Matthias Shaw. I'm actually really happy to see him in another cinematic. Seeing him in the Legion, or in the Battle for Azeroth Prelude with Anduin and Gen and the first piece of Azurite. That was really cool to see. And I kind of thought to myself, are we going to see Shaw again in a cinematic? Obviously, he's a major character in Kultiris, and I was happy to see him here. I definitely expected Gen to be in the cinematic, and he didn't, but Shaw's a good replacement, considering how much we see of him in the Alliance War Campaign. Now, he makes a comment here, and this is an analysis, this is more just filling you guys in. Stealth agents have cleared the area. In the original 8.0 campaign, I have here in my notes that the players are the one who, we set the bombs in the 8.0 campaign, but Kelsey, the gnome, and Keyshawn are sent to check on them in the more recent update. So we set those bombs months ago. Those bombs, we'll come to what bombs. The bombs have been on those boats for a long time. And Kelsey, and there's dialogue. I haven't seen this dialogue, but I've read that Kelsey and Keyshawn are sent to check on them. They're the stealth agents, and now they're clear of impact. They've escaped. And I saw some people bring up in the Lost Codex Discord. It's kind of a forgotten plot point. The bombs, evidently not, because here we are. And I made a little funny note here that I just think of Robert Baratheon from Game of Thrones. Titles, because we've got continue our approach, Captain. I, Lord Admiral. Thank you, Spymaster. Hi, Tinker. There's a lot of titles, and you really get that feel of that naval, nautical. Here they are on the open seas, and everyone's being referred to by their approach, not by name, but by title. This is an important mission. Names come. There's a name that gets dropped later, and it's suddenly a lot more of a personal situation, because this is more professional. This is military. We are on a mission. Titles are used. So I thought of Robert Baratheon here. As soon as we're in range, and there's an appropriate immediate zoom out to show just how far the Alliance forces are from Zandalar. Now, when you're standing on the docks, you see the islands kind of surrounding the bay in Zandalar. They're still beyond that, so they're still in the open sea. They haven't gotten to the locked-in blockade of the Zandalari, so there's still a little bit of a distance to go. And it took me about the second or third watch to realize this is where my heart starts to race, because you realize the distance. And everything that happens after this, in this next big sequence that we're going to talk about, there's a lot of the music builds everything up, and the rapid camera shifts build everything up. And the reason, for me, I noticed it started happening in this scene, because you go, oh, they still got a little whiles to go. They're not super close. They're closing in, but this is where shit goes down, and this is where the music picks up. And it starts with that close. There's a lot of close zoom-ins here. We have the now mark with Captain Taranko, whatever. Now, and then we have the firing shot. And just a side note, that the ranged on those weapons, I made a comment that one of those shots goes so far into the sky that if the Vindicar's up there, I'm pretty sure they hit that's sarcasm. They don't hit the Vindicar, but damn the range on those things. People always made comments about the catapults hitting Teldrassil and why do they have so much range. If they had the Zandalari range weapons, holy crap. And I know how these weapons, I don't know how they work, but I was just blown away. I was like, damn, that went far. No wonder why they miss so much in the opening shots. So I thought it funny that just that one missile on the left-hand side just goes skybound and rip someone on the broken shore that it's going to land on, because that weapon definitely missed. But we have the now mark. Then the weapon's firing. Jaina, steady close-up shot of her face. Instant camera cut. Narrow misses in the water. We have the beep countdown. This, it's rapid camera shifting. Now, firing of the weapons. Steady close-up shot. Weapons missing, water splashing. Then the close-up of Gelbin in his face of absolute pure concentration. That is a face of sheer geniushood, just waiting for the right moment. And we have the beeping kind of makes you go, oh my god, what's happening? What is going on here? And raising of the hand, he's waiting, and you can hear that little subtle click in the background. The suspense builds faster with incoming. We see Jaina's face in the impact of several ships as the missiles land, splashing in the water. We see Jaina's close-up on her and Tandrin in the background, and she yells, "Hi, Tinker!" This is the moment. The music is just ramping up right now, and we have, and the cinematics team does this often, we have that dramatic camera pan around, and it usually means that at the end of that pan, there's a reveal of something, whether it's a scenic reveal, a plot point reveal. There's something that big camera pan, and there's one on the Horde side too, builds up to with a purpose. There's something that happens, an exclamation, a voice, an impact of some kind, and that's what happens right here. It comes panning around. We see the ticking happen. The light turns green. Gelbin's eyes light up. We have that victorious music, and then boom, explosion. And you're left confused. You're left, what just happened? Because it transitions right away. And notice the music change instantly. In the middle of the explosion, the music changes. We go from a bombastic, I have in my notes here, bombastic music with drums and horns to a smaller, sadder, kind of desperate sort of song with soft choir, violins. The music gets solemn instantly. And this is where the titles are tossed away. This is the zoom in on Jaina's face. Gelbin. No, the whisper, the shaky whisper. We see the smoldering crater of where High Tinker Gelbin Mechatork was once standing. The fire around the wreckage. The music, you're like, oh my god, what just happened? Did this really just happen? But it's happening so fast that you don't have time to process everything. Or at least I didn't. I'm not going to say what you felt. And this is where I come back to the Azerite payload. Is this an Azerite payload? Would Azerite have done a lot more damage to Gelbin? I think so. I think that if a fully crafted Azerite missile were to hit a ship, it would be absolutely destroyed. But I wonder, why use the crystal blue? It stuck out to me. And shout out to Ladis, one of the mods in the Lost Codex community, for pointing that out, because it's interesting. I don't think it's Azerite, but it's definitely a possibility on why is it crystal blue. And then in this moment we have the voice yell, "Look out!" And this is where the what I call the desperation sequence comes in. The desperation sequence has already started, but this is where it really takes off. From the smoldering crater, Jaina looks up and does this amazing just block with an arcane shield. We see the missile explode, the impact, and this is when the music slows. This is when everything just starts turning in this really weird crescendo of slowness. These are not technical terms of any way. This is my own technical terms. We're doing it live. And in this moment, as it's panning around, we see Jaina and Tandred both wincing as the debris flies everywhere. The look of pain and distraughtness on their face. We're now worried for these guys too. We've just jumped from, oh my god, Gelbin's dead, to, oh my god, what is happening here? What is going on? Music transitions to down below. The camera is focused on the device that's shaking on the ground. Nothing else can be seen, and then the gasp, the hand. Oh my god, Gelbin's alive. We're good. Then it jumps back up to the surface. We have several parts of the deck being hit. We have Shaw. I don't know if you guys noticed Shaw dragging someone up the stairs, and he's struggling, he's stumbling. There's war going on all around. Jaina's maintaining her shield. The music is still building. Jaina's hands are shaking. Now we have a behind her shot. The shield is starting to, I don't want to say it's starting to break here, but our girl's having trouble here. There is something going on. Gelbin rises from the rubble and fumbles and stumbles onto his face as he crawls towards the device. And that beeping is still happening in the background. That beeping is building up here. We have a couple of bad shots, couple of stormtroopers and Alari who are missing the ships for dramatic effect and dramatic splash. Jaina is now close up holding that shield. And I actually thought of the Ajara shot. When Ajara is holding, when her hands are out and she's holding the shield against the Well of Eternity. Ajara definitely wins that shield. But in this moment, Jaina has this pained expression. That confident Lord Admiral at the beginning, we see a flicker of Thros Jaina here again. She's not doubting anything. This is just pure desperation, and she's concentrating. She's holding an arcane shield with all of her power. And now let's take a time out for a second. People are gonna write, sure, Jaina can teleport everyone out at a convenient time, but she can't here. There's literally debris and fragments exploding around her. She could teleport her brother, probably Shaw and the random that Shaw's dragging, out in a heartbeat. But that requires a single moment of concentration, and right now she is doing everything in her power to prevent her and her brother from being impaled by shards of wood flying in every direction. Anyone who says, what either weak writing or Jaina is weak because she didn't save anyone here. She is doing everything in her power in this moment of, now you could argue, why was Mechatork just unprotected with his device? And remember, his ship was blown up by the Horde, right? This is the moment in the Horde war campaign. So does he have another ship? You know, we don't know. That was his flagship, so it kind of makes sense that why he's on this particular boat. Maybe he should have had a shield around him in some way, been in his mech. Tinker, the device should have been underneath the bottom deck of the ship. Whatever the excuse may be, you know, these little finicky details argue that the device needed to be open air, you know, have full satellite connection to the bombs. They had to be within range, had to be standing upright. All of these little details, don't worry about it. Just worry about it that Gelbin's hurt and he's crawling now. Jaina is doing everything in her power, and note that her face of concentration. I'm all over the map right here. God, I'm really excited. She is struggling, and her face is kind of twisted, almost like she's saying a prayer. Like she's not praying to anyone, but there is a please, like, hold something, fix the situation. This is the crescendo. She is desperate. She is clearly stalling the inevitable fate of what's going to happen, but there's nothing being done to fix it because she is on the full-on defensive right now. And I'm not saying she's not doing anything, but there's that look of please, something happen right now, an absolute pained look of, I keep going back to the word desperation. That is the theme of both cinematics here. Desperation here. We go down to the deck, and Gelbin pops all of his cooldowns, struggles, the zoom in on his grit teeth, lifts up the machine, and we have the rapid camera change. The cog twists into place, the satellite turns around, the light turns green, and then Gelbin brings his fist down on the button. And notice that there are several different shots. The team could have just had the fist come down, but they are doing a lot of camera jumps here. So we have the cog turning, we have the satellite turning, the light turning green, we have Gelbin's hand go up, zoom in on his fist, zoom in on the button, comes down. And what's important here is when the green light starts beeping, at the crescendo of its beep, the music stops completely. And we have the rush, the whooshing sound through the Alliance fleet, up close to the Zandalari, and then, boom, the victory scene. We have the camera panning over. This is the defeat, the golden fleet of the Zandalari. This is, as the music resumes, we have the captain, commander, dockmaster, whatever his name is. He tosses into the water, and everyone knows if you get tossed into the water in a ship scene, you're always a survivor. Is he confirmed alive? Who knows? We have the Zandalari, the Jaina's dad's boat going right through the water, knocking pieces of Zandalari ships out of the way. Very symbolic of this is a victory. This is a total victory for the Alliance right here, right now. The battle is over before the battle even begins. The Zandalari fleet, the main defense of this city, in a single moment is decimated by Gnomish engineering. And this is setting the mood that the Alliance are the aggressors here. Not the bad guys, but the aggressors. They are winning before they even start. This is what the Horde had in the beginning of the expansion. Decimating Ashenvale and Darkshore. No hope for the Alliance to win. And then we end with that dramatic ending. Here we have the entire Zandalari fleet exploding as the Kultiris music plays in your ears. This, if you're Horde, you're sitting this going, damn, you have this damn look on your face. But Alliance players are sitting here with as that Alliance tune, that Kultiris music is at the height. You were like, oh yeah, I feel pretty good right now. This is, we have the three ships, left, right, and then the main ship in the middle with the huge pyramid in the background. I don't know why I love this shot. I think this would be a great desktop background. I'm gonna do that. Totally unrelated. I'm gonna do that. But we have here the Alliance is sailing in, and the battle hasn't even started, and they've won. We have Jaina's Alliance forward with that, the hottest mixtape album cover of 2019. We've got Matthias Shaw, Gelban Mekatork, Tandred, and Jaina Proudmoore. I mean, that's a really weird call. If out of context aside, if you just said, yeah, there's going to be a cinematic with Shaw, Gelban, and the Proudmoore siblings, I would have been like, really? That's a really weird pairing. But it is so epic because we know Gelban's a boss in here. We know Matthias Shaw has been so involved actively with the war campaign. Obviously, Jaina's leading the charge on here, and Tandred's brand new character. We've seen him in 2 cinematics now. This, I know I kind of sped through that analysis with the constant changes, and I apologize if I went a little bit too fast because I got a little bit excited, but go back and especially watch where shit goes down right at the moment where Gelban says, as soon as we're in range, that is where things go down. We see the zoom in on the Zandalar's face. Now, jump to the weapons firing, jump to the weapons missing, Jaina, close up. Everything happens in such quick succession, and then the music takes over when it's all slow-mo, and there's just this feeling of your heart's racing. Gelban is struggling and crawling towards the machine. Jaina is struggling as well to hold up that shield and to protect her and her brother. She's in a position where she can't save the day. Jaina is the one who saved the day in Lordaeron twice. She can't right now. She is vulnerable, and she is doing everything she can to stay alive and protect her brother. And Gelban, we don't see Gelban a lot. We see him in the Broken Shore cinematic with his goofy laugh as he blows the head off of a Felguard and calls in the gunship. But we don't see a lot of him elsewhere. So suddenly we're invested in this newer character on screen. And like, oh hey buddy, it's been a while. And then, bam, for a single moment, you're like, is he dead? No, he's alive. Oh, come on, crawl faster. Come on, buddy. He's struggling, and I'm pretty sure in my reaction, I'm cheering him on. I've played a gnome since vanilla. I played Horde and Alliance since vanilla, but my first Alliance character was a dwarf. My second Alliance character, made 14 years ago, was a gnome, and my inner gnomish pride was just cheering. Come on, buddy. Come on, High Tinker. Lift that machine up. And, why did the machine need to be standing upright? Doesn't matter. Gnomish technology makes no sense. Or it makes all the sense. Depends on what argument you want to make. Go back and listen to the music. Listen to the video with your eyes closed. And then watch it all again. And you realize how music-driven it is. The rapid cutscenes. You barely have time to process one thing before it jumps immediately to the other. And I really loved that crescendo moment as when he sets the machine upright, and then it cuts to the cog, cuts to the satellite swivel, cuts to the green light, cuts to him raising his arm, zoom in on the fist, zoom in on the button, fist comes down, zoom in on the fleet, and boom, and then the music resumes again, and it's almost this, you get to breathe that sigh of relief of, we did it. This whole, oh my god, Jaina, Tandred, Shaw, and Gelban are all going to die at the same moment, is overcome with this, oh my god, the Zandalari fleet just got totally wrecked in the most glorious way possible. This is probably one of the coolest cinematics in any raid in the past. People are going to say that the Ice Crown cinematic is up there. It's definitely up there, but seeing this introduction of how the raid starts and why the Alliance gets so far into Zuldazar. We see, the Horde, you're drawn out of Zuldazar. You guys fell for the trap. I haven't done it on my Horde character, but I've seen the playthroughs. We are drawn to Nazmir, and then you hear the boom, you hear the explosions, and you're like, oh crap, there goes the fleet. That's it. Fleet's gone. I would have liked I actually thought the Horde cinematic was going to be them running into the city, but as we saw, it's not. That's going to be another video where I talk about all the important, exciting stuff in there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this analysis. It maybe I focused too much on certain small details, but these details really jumped out to me on the second and the third watch through for me. I've learned a lot about doing these analysis and giving my reactions and commentary on them. And if this is something you guys want to see more of, let me know. If you didn't enjoy how fast-paced it was and how all over the map it was, let me know. Let me know what you would prefer to see more of. I don't have an expert background on film or anything like that. I just have my own experience as a script writer and machinima movie director through my own experience. So I'm commenting on things that I've done in my own scenes and have been inspired to do from these World of Warcraft cinematics that really stand out as huge and impactful. And it's those quick moving shots. It's the music. When the music fits just right, it's this perfect moment that really makes it all come together. So next time you're listening or watching to a World of Warcraft in-game cinematic, pay attention to the music. The music sets everything, and the music is what made my heart start to race and to panic and to worry about everyone all at once before there was this sudden this sigh of relief. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I think that this is one of the best moments to have in cinematic form, and because a cinematic for World of Warcraft needs to be one of the highest moments in lore. It has to make sense plot-wise. There has to be a major reason behind it. Remember that. So this set the tale of how we, the Alliance, stormed into the ancient Empire of Zandalar without any resistance. Well, we had resistance, and then Gnomish technology took care of that resistance, which is why the Alliance just floods the docks. This is a crucial moment of why the Alliance, I would say, wins the battle for Dazar'alor. Horde easily, were the victors in Uldir. I would argue that Horde players, Alliance players didn't go to Uldir story-wise. That was 100% Horde. This is the Alliance victory. And we'll talk about that in the next video and my thoughts on that particular cinematic. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you guys thought. If you want to tune into more of my live commentary, head on over to twitch.tv/LostCodexLore. I stream 4 to 5 times a week. The times are all over the place. I try to aim for an afternoon or an late afternoon, early evening stream, Eastern time. Pay attention on Twitter or join our Discord. Links are in the description below. If you are waiting for the next big lore video and you're like, Jesse, where's the lore videos? Last one he did was the Horseman song back in October. Well, BlizzCon hit. The BlizzCon interview came out. And then we did a whole month of streaming and where our attention was kind of taken elsewhere. So I do apologize for that. We are past the 50% mark when it comes to this next lore video. We are in production right now. It is another Loa episode. We are featuring another Loa. Can't tell you which one just yet, but stay tuned. And if you're interested and you want to hear me ramble about things, but for longer, head on over to our YouTube channel right here where you are and listen to our podcast. You can find them on Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes, Decoded. We talk about everything and anything. As always, guys, thank you so much for your support. And join the Discord. Come hang out on Twitch. Say hi. Do what you gotta do. And we'll see you guys for the Rastakhan Talanji cutscene analysis. Thanks, guys.